we had some good matches, we had some good shows. I think that we have been romanticized a lot. But out of nowhere, we started getting all these people hitting us up, these other companies, Fusion, Full Impact Pro, D1PW. There was a promotion out of Georgia, I don't remember the name of it. Just different people. And then I had the Ron Nemes hitting me up, and I had, these different people hitting me up, and, oh, good job, y'all are doing good, blah, 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 I heard what y'all are doing over there. Prince IK started coming in, wanting to do stuff with us. When you saw all these different people, and me, I was just kind of baffled. I was like, what is it that we're doing that is garnering this kind of attention? So we tried working with different people. We brought IK in, worked with him a little bit. Didn't really want to touch on that one. We brought Joey Machete in, the Fusion thing. We did some stuff with them. And basically what ended up happening was I've known him myself for a while. I don't always agree with everything he says. I don't always agree with the actions he has taken or the things that he has done. However, personally, he's never done anything like that to me, like he did with George and other people recently. And as for Chasen's I've never had a bad word to say about Chasen because he's never done anything wrong to me. And it's just my opinion, I don't take on other people's beefs because I think that's kind of childish. But basically, MSL hit me up and he was just like, I have, a proposition for you, and he ran it by me and we talked it out a lot. And I actually took Lewis with me because, I always was big about making sure, and George can contest this, that Lewis was 100% in the fold because he was my right-hand man. Even if I didn't agree with everything Lewis was pulling at the time, I always tried to keep him involved. So we went out there, we had a meeting, we had discussed it with all the boys about what we should do, that was a good idea. He opened up the doors to opportunity for some of them to come out and work Believe. The two that I think benefited the most from that was Lewis and Josh. I know Lewis kind of dropped the ball on that a little bit. And they started coming out, and I thought the product did well. I thought it improved quite a bit, actually. If you watch the matches before then, there were select matches that stood out. If you watch the matches after they came in, most matches stood out as good matches. But before then, the Aaron Epic matches and the Josh Rain matches and the Eric Cooper matches and the Mark Mandrake matches and, most part of the Kennedy Kendrick matches and things like that, they stood out as, these matches were good. But after they came in, then we started getting guys like Jarrell Clark and Gus Money and QT Marshall and, Leon came in right on that time, although that was a totally unassociated situation. But and the quality, in my opinion, got better when it came to quality for matches. Backstage, everyone played that, Hallmark cards and smiles bullshit. And we had one particular meeting where everyone was, bitching and complaining and stuff, and I was like, seriously, if you don't want to be here, don't fucking be here. And that's the approach I should have had from day one, because I let a lot of people walk all over me. And basically, in my opinion, Believe coming in did a lot to help us, and it did a lot to hurt us. It wasn't that it was malicious hurt, but it was just a lot of people took that more or less. There was a lot of rumors going around that I had sold it to MSL and that I had given MSL full control. In reality, there never was control handed over. We brought Sean Davis in to help out a lot, more or less to help control the boys, and it wasn't even about him booking. A lot of people don't realize that Sean's booking influence was more that of an influence as opposed to him taking over the book, like a lot of people assumed. We just went with the fact that I was dealing with a lot of drama at the time in my life, and it was wearing on me. I let the show in the hands of the people who complain about Believe coming in, and we went from at least 40 fans a week to 8, and that's fact. I came to that show. I went in, and sat down and watched the show that night, and I'm sitting there waiting for it, and I asked several people, did you promote this week? Well, no. Well, why didn't you promote this week? Well, you promoted last week. Well, to promote. George, part of a weekly show, he knows you have to promote. You can't just assume that the fans from next week are coming back. And I just watched the show falter for a few weeks, and basically that's what happened. So in my opinion, I think Believe came in and they did a good job helping us. But there's more to it than just Believe when they came in. A lot of people kind of just assumed it was like Believe, Leon did a countless amount of work for us at that time. That's when Leon came in, and he kind of took over, locker room leadership in a lot of ways. And Raymond Snow came in, and he started helping us out a lot. And a lot of people just assume that because Believe came in that these guys were there, but in actuality, we were already working with them before that. It just happened to fall in place around that same time.
What is it like for you to have, go from, I don't know if this is a very, not, I'm trying to use the right word without being offensive, but going from being, I'm Martin Marvel and I'm a guy in high school, then at some point you've got Larry Zbyszko in your locker room. How does that feel? Basically,
I went from, and like I told you this on the phone, and I have no qualms admitting it, I went from shit show specialist where I got no respect, no anything, guys that, wanted to sit on the boards and make fun of me all the time and stuff like that, to I had people like Larry Zbyszko coming to my show and wanting to set up a table and wanting to meet and greet with fans, wanting to do this stuff. And I got Jim Anvil Neihart calling me on my phone asking me about if he can come up and do the same. And I've got, TJ Perkins, and I've got, guys that I respect, like, Eric Cannon recently, I would like to come work at Clips. And I got guys, from Ring of Honor and FIP, and I've got guys that used to just laugh at me when I was in SW, hit me up wanting to work. And at first it's a bit wavering in your mind, like you kind of mark out a little bit, but I did learn a lesson quite quickly that they didn't give a fuck about me. It's cool, hey, I'm hanging out at Larry Zbyszko's house for God's sakes recently, like, for around that same time, but do you think he gives a fuck? Not really, And the truth of the matter is that when I got sick and Eclipse shut down, I had to have surgery for something serious, and I can really honestly count on one hand how many people actually called and checked and see if I was okay. So, yeah, I don't know, like, I'm not a starstruck person very easily. I think a lot of people misunderstood that in me when I started bringing people in, that they thought I was marking out when I was more or less looking after the product. The biggest regret I have for Eclipse in that situation was that I couldn't pay everyone. And a lot of people like to lie or over-exaggerate or even just make up dumb numbers of what people were getting paid. And I can honestly tell you that no one there was making more than... There was no one making that much, I'll put it that way. There was no over... You might be able to buy you a meal at McDonald's on your way home. Mostly because at the end of the night, I was negative $60, negative $150, negative this, negative that, because Bob didn't give us money.
Now, I've covered plenty of stuff, and I've got some real good footage and a lot of stuff that I can use. Probably some stuff I shouldn't use, but I'll wait for this guy to open this. But if you guys have any last things that you want to cover, I'll give you both the opportunity. Looks like he's going to be kind of loud, so.
I don't know, I got nothing more to say about PWE.
You good, George?
I think I'm pretty good.
Covered it?
I still don't like you.
Okay, thank you, George.
Sir.
Thank you, sir. Uh-oh.
Swear to God, sit down. I will.
Your questions, but
I think I did, though. How did the PWE evolve? I asked you about, like, the guys who have risen. You gave me Josh. Second wave of wrestlers were the backstage leaders. Some people left. Why? Significance. Did I ask you about the significance of the Ultraviolet title?
You asked George, I think.
Okay, did you want to cover that? Or
yeah, I can. I mean, okay. I don't care.
What was the significance of the Ultraviolet title?
Though the basic idea was to give it like a CZW kind of feel, I guess, but at the same time not make it all about blood and guts. We really wanted to kind of touch on the fact that it would be the title to kind of cringe at, like Ultraviolet titles coming, you're going to have to, we'd actually make it, disclaimers for people with children, you might want to leave, it might be blood, it might be this, it might be that. And it really was, all out. What's funny, and seeing as they're right there, is that the tag team titles sort of outshine the Ultraviolet title in some ways, because the James Boys and the Gangsters overtook the idea of, hey, go out there and have fun and be crazy, and then they would destroy each other.
And
they're right, guys.
And like Taylor's on fire.